Hey folks, Mike here. Today with a little short update video about my studio. I've invested quite some money in some new gear and some new equipment. Maybe you have seen my studio tour, which I released some month ago, I think. But quite a lot of things have changed since then because after my announcement that I will concentrate more on mixing and music production, I had to invest and to change some things in my studio. And some of you guys like keep asking me what gear I use. So today with this video, I want to show you what exactly I use. I will show each of the equipment. I will list the description of everything down in the description box, which gear I use and where you can find that. We'll talk about the pros and cons, and I will change now my camera position now, and will guide you through some of the new stuff. Have fun. So basically, what you see here, this is kind of my new working space. The table is still the same as you see, but it's a lot more cleaner, and obviously the most important thing that you see is my new computer. This is a 27-inch late 2013 iMac. The specs, I think I will put the description within that video as well. This is a 3.5 Intel quad-core i7. It has 16 gigs of RAM, 256 of SSD drive, and the 4 gigabyte graphic card, I think. I got this in used condition, but it's really good quality still. After some weeks of research, I found one basically here in Munich, so I could go there and have a look and tested it for some time. Finally, I bought it. I was thinking about buying a new one with that Retina display for all you Mac guys out there, but I didn't thought it was worth the money because my main focus was on the speed of the processor, and I wanted a fast drive and some RAM. So if I had buy this new one, I would have to spend a lot of money basically. And for music production, I don't need Retina anyway. So this one is quite a beast. It really enhances my workflow quite a lot. Because I can load up way more tracks than before. If you remember, I used a MacBook Air. This was kind of pain in the ass to work with, because though the MacBook Air is a really great laptop for mobile working and when you're on the road, but for music production, the MacBook Air isn't really made for music production anyway. It worked for the last 2 years, but finally I made this improvement, and it's really fun to work with this guy. So let's take a zoom from my whole desktop again. Let's start on the left. This is my just little teddy bear, which I got from my daughter. Of course, the light bulb there, the classic one in music studios as well. Starting with the speakers, these are the trusty Monkey Banana. It's a German company, quite young company I think, but those monitors are really decent and good. Maybe I will upgrade them in the future as well, but for the sake of my work, they really work. They are quite honest in the sound picture they provide. They're sometimes a bit too small. I have some struggling with the low end sometimes because they have not a big subwoofer included, of course, but I use my headphones anyway when mixing, so I can switch between the speakers and the headphones, so I get a quite good overall picture. So speaking of the headphones, I use for 2 or 3 years now. These are the Biodynamics DT770 Pro, the 32 ohm, because I needed something that which I can use on my mobile phone as well. Really good, kind of studio legends. They are used a lot around the work, so really good headphones. What's new as well is my interface. I don't think you can see this. I will just put it in the sun. quite a bit. So over here, this is the Behringer Euphoria UMC 22 HD. I got this new. Formerly I used the Roland quad capture, which I still use, which I will show you in a minute. But like I needed like a second one to simultaneously listen on headphones and on the speakers, and this little guy has this cool feature where I can just, I have here two knobs. I don't think, maybe I will brighten up the video. You can switch between the monitor output and the phone output, so you can switch seamlessly during the mixing, which is a very cool feature. It has kind of pro specs. You can record in 24-bit, 192 kilohertz. But the best thing about this one, it just cost me a lot, like 60 euro. It was on sale basically, but this is a really killer deal. Nice interface. You cannot use this for your eDrums because it has no MIDI input. But as I use my Roland interface, I still use the Roland quad capture interface. I didn't like needed another interface with a MIDI in. So this is just for mixing and recording, a really cool interface. Yeah, my keyboard for the Mac. You see here, this is the iLog, where I have my licenses for Slate and Isotope and stuff, always connected to the USB port of the keyboard. Over here, this is another investment. This is the PreSonus fader port. I'm just like shaking the video here. The PreSonus fader port, which I bought last week. This is really cool. It really like enhances my workflow as well, to have control over the faders. I do most of the mixing stuff when I'm mixing using that fader port. You can, when you see here, you can jump. See that? I can like jump, and the fader is motorized. So especially when doing some volume adjustment during this song, when you do some automation stuff, this is really cool because it's like really sensitive and way more fun and way more like natural feeling than doing all this thing with just the mouse. This is a basic overview of this. You can switch between the channels, automation section. You can mute solo and record. You can pan, you like the hi-hats or the toms from left to right. The transport section where I can just, without using my mouse, just stop the track, play it again, rewind and forward. So really cool thing. This is about 180 euro from PreSonus. Highly recommend this. Over here we have the Rode NT USB microphone, which I usually make my mixing tutorials or drum sample tutorials or overviews with, but today I'm just using my iPhone with the camera. So this little guy really works well. Always some coffee, of course, some water. This is the mouse, which I use as well, of course. Yeah, that's basically this for my desktop. Pretty clean, pretty neat. I really like that. I will just maybe show you this little guy here. I really like that like smart feature. This is kind of a USB hub here, which is connected on the back side of the iMac and provide you like 4 USB ports just in front, so you have control. You can like plug in all the stuff without like always searching for the right USB port on the back side. But speaking of the back side, I will just go around here. You see I have this like this little bag here which I bought, where I put my hard drive. On this hard drive all my samples are saved. All my drum samples. I have 350 gigabytes of drum samples in the meantime, due to the Superior Drummer expansions mainly. They need quite a lot of space. But this is like a nice feature, so you can hide this always plugged in. With my MacBook Air I just had 2 USB ports, and it was like really annoying sometimes because especially when mixing and making music you need a lot of USB ports, and I always had to switch between the samples and the iLog and stuff, so it was really annoying. So the last thing I want to show you, so this is really fun. The last problem I had basically was like when I put my an iMac right there, I didn't like have access to the drum set, because usually my drum set was right over there on that little table there, and I like always put my MacBook there, record my drum track, put the the MacBook, sorry, disconnected it from my little table there, brought it over to here, connected all the stuff. I had like to solve the problem that I have access to Superior Drummer when playing drums and don't want to move the iMac, of course. So what I did here is, this is the camera, by the way, I bought another monitor, another screen. So this is a basic 24-inch screen from Samsung, pretty basic stuff, nothing special, just about like 90 bucks or stuff. So pretty affordable. And this little monitor is connected via HDMI cable directly to my iMac. So what I can do when I decide to, like, I will just open up Superior Drummer now, new track, open Superior Drummer. So because I need, when you record drum samples, some of you may know that you need access to the user interface, of course, because sometimes you want to change the pitch or the volume of the individual instruments, or you want to assign new MIDI notes to the individual instruments. So what I can now just do, because this monitor here, right over there, it's, as you see, already has that Mac screen. So what I just can do is now use the mouse and just pull it out of the screen, and of course it's not gone. We'll go here, and there it is. So I can sit behind my drum set. I have this trackpad that came along with the iMac as well, so I have full control over the do it again from here, maybe you can see that. We'll put the mouse here, drag the window, and there it is. So I can play full control over a Superior Drummer, and after I've done, I've just like throw the windows back to my iMac and work there on my, without like moving any laptop computer from left to right. Speaking of the interface, this is the roll and quad capture, what I've been using now for 2 or 3 years. Really a killer interface, can highly recommend this. You won't find any similar due to the specs in that price range. It was about like 200 euro, I think. I paid this like 2 or 3 years ago. Pretty decent, especially when for recording, has MIDI, nearly low latency or zero latency, but I broke my headphone connection port here. When I plugged in my headphones, like this one, it was like broken inside. So this is this works still, of course, but I cannot use the headphone amp anymore. So this is the roll and quad capture interface. This is connected via USB port as well, directly to the iMac. So the only thing I have to change when playing drums is connecting this interface to the iMac, because right now the Behringer Euphorbia is connected to the iMac. But this is just like disconnecting one cable and connecting the other one. So the Magic Trackpad, I use another pair of headphones here. These are the Shure CL215, I think, in-ears, decent quality. It's enough. Of course, you can spend a lot of money for in-ears anyway, but these work for me just for recording and playing and practicing on the drums. This monitor I've spoke about, this is from Samsung, and going there, still my trusty old TE12. I use the Presonus HP4 as the headphone amplifier, because the output level of the interface is not like high enough to really get some volume on your headphones, so I needed another headphone amp. This one I use for 3 years now as well, works still really fine. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just like show you my drum set. Maybe you have seen this in my latest videos. I just like downsized just a bit, kind of a jazz setup with just 2 tones some questionable. Works fine for me to do some basic stuff, nothing fancy with like 5 or 4 or 6 thumbs and several questionables. So this is works fine for me. As I said, I will post all the links to all of the stuff I just showed you now in the description box. Maybe I will do another video in some weeks where I showcase you all of my software and mixing plugins and all the sample technology I use. But for the moment, this was kind of an overview of my studio. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. I will post all the description in the description box, the links to the products. Have fun, have a nice Sunday still, and thanks for watching. Bye guys.